Scattered across the lush lowlands of southern Costa Rica lies one of the most intriguing archaeological phenomena of the Americas, the stone spheres of the Diquís region. These nearly perfect, human made spheres, some weighing many tons, have puzzled archaeologists, historians, and travelers since their modern rediscovery in the 20th century. Their precision, scale, and unknown purpose have inspired both scientific inquiry and speculation, making them one of the most enigmatic legacies of the pre-Columbian civilizations of Central America. Hello, everyone. Giant Stonehead here. If you enjoy obscure science and forgotten history, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And now, let's talk about some giant stone spheres. The stone spheres are primarily located in the Diquís Delta of southern Costa Rica, a further fertile alluvial plain formed by the Taraba and Serpe rivers near the Pacific coast. This region contains numerous archaeological sites, including Finca 6, Batambal, El Silencio, and Grijalba 2, four locations that collectively form a UNESCO World Heritage Site designated in 2014. Although local indigenous communities were aware of the spheres for centuries, they came to widespread attention in the 1930s, when workers clearing land for banana plantations encountered them. Many spheres were unfortunately moved, damaged, or even dynamited by treasure hunters who believed they might contain gold. This disruption has complicated efforts to fully understand their total arrangement and purpose. Today, more than 300 spheres have been documented, although not all remain in their original positions. The Costa Rica spheres vary greatly in size, ranging from small objects just a few centimeters across to massive stones over 2.5 meters, or about 8 feet, in diameter and weighing between 15 and 24 tons. Most were carved from gabbro, a dense quartz-grained volcanic rock similar to basalt, although some examples were made from limestone or sandstone. What makes these spheres particularly remarkable is their precision. Many are nearly perfectly round, with surfaces that were carefully smoothed and polished. Archaeologists believe they're created using a combination of techniques, such as the controlled fracturing of large boulders, pecking and hammering with harder stones, and grinding and polishing with sand. This process required immense labor, skill, and planning, especially given that the raw materials were often transported from quarries located several kilometers away. The level of geometric accuracy achieved without metal tools or modern measuring devices continues to astonish researchers. The spheres were produced by the Diquís culture, a complex pre-Columbian society that flourished between roughly 500 and 1500 CE. This culture developed a sophisticated socio-political system, organized into chiefdoms with hierarchical leadership. Archaeological evidence from the region, including artificial mounds, paved areas, and burial sites, indicates a well-structured society capable of large-scale construction projects. The Diquís people were also known for advanced metallurgy, particularly in goldworking, producing intricate ornaments that were reflected both artistic skill and social status. Within this context, the stone spheres were not isolated creations, but part of a broader cultural and ceremonial landscape. One of the most important clues to the sphere's purpose lies in their original placement. At sites like Finca 6, some spheres remain in situ, arranged along lines, clusters, and geometric patterns. These arrangements were not random. Archaeologists have identified linear alignments extending dozens of meters, groupings associated with plazas or elite residences, strategic placement near mounds and ceremonial spaces. Such patterns suggest the spheres played a role in organizing or marking important areas within the Diquís settlements. Despite decades of study, the exact purpose of the stone spheres remains unknown. However, several theories have emerged. Many researchers believe that spheres functions as markers of authority. Their placement near elite structures suggests they may have signified the presence or power of a chief. Large, carefully crafted spheres would have required significant resources, making them ideal symbols of prestige and control. Another theory proposes that the spheres mark territorial boundaries or important routes within the Diquís region. Their visibility and durability would have made them effective long-term markers in the landscape. Some scholars also suggest that the spheres had astronomical significance. Certain alignments appear to correspond with solar events, such as the position of the sun during specific times of the year. If true, this would indicate a sophisticated understanding of celestial cycles and integration into cultural or religious practices. There's also more symbolic interpretations that the spheres held a sort of spiritual meaning, as their near perfect shape may have represented cosmic order, unity, or celestial bodies like the sun and moon. In this view, the spheres were not merely decorative, but central to spiritual life and belief systems. It's also possible that all of these are true to some extent. It would depend on the context. Uh, but we really just don't know because a lot of the stones have been displaced, moved around from their original locations, blown up, and the Diquis did not have a written language, so they couldn't tell us their intent. And a lot of the sites are eroded because the area is very tropical, which tends to be bad for preserving things. So there's a lot of things working against trying to figure out what these things actually meant to the people who made them. And we have to go on incomplete data and interpret things indirectly, which can be subject to bias. In 2014, the Precolumbian chieftain settlements with stone spheres of the Diquís were inscribed into the UNESCO World Heritage List. The designation recognizes spheres as a unique testimony to a complex and sophisticated Precolumbian society. It also helped to ensure their protection and conservation for future generations. Costa Rica has since taken steps to preserve the spheres, including legal protections that prohibit their export, and they have also begun restoration effort at key sites like Finca 6. Archaeologists continue to study the spheres using modern techniques such as 3D mapping, geophysical surveys, and materials analysis. These methods are helping researchers better understand the quarry sources and transportation methods, original site layouts, and the cultural context within the broader region. They're also indirect and help preserve the sites. So, nobody has to dig, which makes a big difference. Recent conservation projects have also focused on preserving more fragile examples, including those made of limestone, which limestone tends not to hold up as well in tropical or humid environments. So that's also something that needs to be taken into account. Despite these advances, the sphere's ultimate meaning remains elusive, adding to their enduring fascination. The stone spheres of Costa Rica stand as a testament to human ingenuity, artistry, and mystery. Created over 1,000 years ago by the Diquís culture, these remarkable objects demonstrate an advanced understanding of geometry, craftsmanship, and social organization. Yet their true purpose remains unknown. Were they symbols of power, celestial markers, sacred objects, or something else entirely? This unanswered question is precisely what makes the spheres so compelling. They invite us to look beyond the familiar narratives of ancient civilizations to recognize that there are still stories carved in stone that we have yet to fully understand. But what do you think? Have you visited the stone spheres? Would you like to hear about more ancient, mysterious objects from the Americas? Please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll be posting here weekly. If there's anything you'd like me to cover next, let me know. I see some interesting parallels between the stone spheres and the moai and the stone money of the Yap and even Serpent Mound, all things I've covered on channel so far, that they're very mysterious because they're it's hard to interpret them through the lens of a Western civilization. There was not a lot of writing left behind that described what was done and why these things were made. The difference being that the stone money of the Yap, the people still exist to tell us what it is, and these things are still actually being used, if not as much as they were before. But I think that's important to understand what the difference is, though. If the Yap had collapsed and their population had left, say, and later explorers or populations come onto this island and see all these stone wheels, what are they going to make of it? It's very similar to what we see with the Costa Rica stone spheres, because who knows, maybe these were a form of currency. We have no way of knowing. But with the Yap, we do because some of that tradition survived into the modern day. Whereas in this case, these people were, at least what of their culture is left is far distant from what it was before. So it might have been subsumed by other tribes in the area, something on that order. So it's kind of interesting to see the parallels between all these different monuments and like what we know and what we don't know, what's left up to interpretation. But anyway, that's enough rambling from me. Until next time, thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back next week with, I believe I'll be covering the tomb of Genghis Khan, so you can look forward to that. Thank you.